Hello and welcome to Anytime Yoga. I'm so glad you're joining me today. Today we're going to focus on the UPA muscle energy. This is the second UPA that is important to think through as you're moving through your sequence. So before we talked about open to grace, setting your foundation, inner body brightness. And now as you've set your foundation in whichever pose you're in, you then need to pay attention to hugging into your muscle energy. So some language I'm going to use is hugging skin to muscle to bones, activating, engaging your muscles. You can think of engaging from surface to muscle to bone. So if we're moving into warrior two arms, rather than just hanging out, letting your fingers droop, we want to engage, press out, then hug back into midline. So your midline's like from your collarbones down to your pelvic floor. You're hugging into this whole area of engagement and activation. You can also think about how this helps with your stability. So when you're rooting down in a standing pose, take warrior two for example, you're rooting down, setting your foundation, then you're getting strong through your legs, through your core, all the way up through your arms. Right? Then shining bright through the crown of your head. So those are just some languaging to be aware of. Muscle energy physically helps us align. It helps keep your joints safe, knowing that you're protecting your knees, your shoulders by using your muscles. Okay? So muscle energy, that's just a brief introduction to that. And let's move into our sequence. So go ahead and find a comfortable seated pose, either kneeling over a block or seated cross-legged, making sure your hips are a bit higher than your knees. Root down, get strong through your core, shoulder blades on your back, shine bright through the crown of your head, palms facing down for more groundedness or up for more openness. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and begin to notice your breath. Invite your breath past your throat, past your heart, deep down into your belly. Letting your belly expand and contract with each inhalation and exhalation. Soften your eyes, soften your jaw. Then take this time to check in with your heart, your body, and your mind. Noticing your feelings and emotions. Acknowledging those emotions with curiosity and without judgment. Check in with your body, noticing any discomfort or dis-ease, and then sending your breath in that direction. And check in with your mind, noticing where your thoughts may have drifted, and with kindness, with self-compassion, invite your thoughts back to your mat, back to the present moment. I invite you to set an intention, a word or a phrase you can return to for encouragement, for compassion, for kindness, whether you are on your mat or off your mat into your day. On your next inhalation, raise your hands above your head, meeting your palms together, and exhaling your hands to your heart. Let's start with one Om together. Take a deep inhale. Exhale HA. And inhale for Om. Gently release your hands, softly blink open your eyes, shrug your shoulders. Inhale your hands high, exhale, twist to your right, staying long through your spine, shining bright through the crown of your head. Continue to hug into your midline, letting your core strengthen, activate. Then inhale back to center and exhale over to your left. And inhale back to center, exhale your hands to your heart, transition to tabletop pose. Notice what props you might need, maybe a blanket under your knees. If not, set that to the side. Set your foundation first, open to grace, rooting your fingers, knuckles, palms into your mat. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Begin to move through your favorite versions of cat-cow, noticing what would feel best in your body this morning, or this evening, or this afternoon, whenever you're doing anytime yoga. Maybe switch to side, looking back at your hips and switching, shaking your tail slowly as you begin to warm up and wake up your body. And then add a little more movement, maybe sink your hips back towards your heels. Move with your breath. Connect with your foundation. And take one more breath where you are. And meet back in tabletop. Rooting down, we're going to move from bird dog to high knee. So have your blocks ready if you use your blocks. Extend your right arm out in front of you, left leg back behind you. Notice that your heel isn't stretching high, but just straight out. Reach out, then hug back into midline. Lower back down, left arm out, right leg back. Hug in. Activate through your core, activate through your pelvic floor. Lower, again, first side. And lower your right hand, keep your leg out. Draw your knee to your nose, root your foot between your hands, grab your blocks. Root down with your left foot, rise all the way up, high knee, and then step back, bird dog. Move through bird dog 2 to 3 times, flowing at your own pace. Root down, rise up, and meet back in tabletop pose. Second side, left arm out, right leg back, hug into midline. Lower your left hand back down to your mat. Knee to nose, right foot roots between your hands. Root down to rise up, high knee, Take as many steps as you need to go into high knee, and then step back into bird dog. Flow 2 to 3 times with your breath. One more time, flowing with your breath, rooting down to rise up, hug in, strong legs, strong core, shine bright through the crown of your head, and lower down to tabletop pose. Nice work. Set your blocks to the side. Meet back in tabletop pose. Walk your spider fingers out in front of you. Soften your heart toward your mat. Puppy pose. Get a nice long stretch through your spine. Draw your lower ribs back toward your spine. And then soften again. Deep breaths. And inhale, rise. Walk your spider fingers off your mat to your right. Soften into side puppy. Lengthen through your side bodies. And then back to center and over to your left. Soften your heart. And back to center. Root your hands into your mat. Move through modified chaturanga. You can move at your own pace or flow with me. Draw your chest forward, shoulder blades on your back. Strong core. Keep your elbows beside your ribs as you lower down to your mat. Chest, then hips. Root the tops of your feet into your mat. Inhale, cobra. Palms lift off your mat about an inch. Lower back down, root down, get strong, strong, strong to rise up and sink back into puppy. Let's move through that 2 more times. Inhale forward. Exhale lower. Cobra variation, spider fingers off to the side of your mat, root down. Inhale your chest high. And exhale lower. Root down to rise up and sink back into puppy. One more time. Inhale your chest forward. Lower down. Cobra. Lower down, inhale, rise up, and exhale, puppy pose. Take 2 breaths in puppy. And plant your hands, inhale your chest forward into modified plank, shoulder blades on your spine. Lift your knees off your mat into full plank, and then lift your hips high, downward facing dog. Check your foundation, open to grace. Rooting your fingers and knuckles into your mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to get a nice long back from your wrists through your shoulders all the way out your hips. Then walk the dog, moving your hips side to side, bending your knees. And meet back in down dog. Inhale your right leg high, even out your hips. Draw your knee to nose. Root your foot between your hands. Root down, get strong, strong, strong before rising up into crescent lunge. Front knee over front ankle. Long back leg, exhale, cactus arms. If you feel your lower ribs jutting out, draw your lower ribs back toward your spine. Think tall, think shining bright through the crown of your head. Inhale your hands high, exhale your hands to your heart, draw your chest forward, twist to your right, bringing your left elbow to your outer right knee. Open your arms wide, rise up, staying twisted, and back into crescent lunge. Open to your left, open to your right. And back to center. Exhale your hands down to your mat. Root down, step back, 3-legged dog. Bend your lifted knee, open through your hip. Scorpion dog. Lower your foot down to your mat. And then move through chaturanga, Stay in down dog or move into child's pose, yogi's choice. Whatever would feel best for your body today. Meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg high, keep your hips even. Draw your knee to your nose. Root your left foot between your hands. Root down, get strong. Strong legs, strong core, rise up. Crescent lunge, second side, move through cactus arms. Flowing with your breath. Exhale your hands to your heart, draw your chest forward, twist to your left, bringing your right elbow to your outer left knee. Open through your arms. And rise up, staying twisted. And meet back in crescent lunge. Open to your right. Open to your left. And back to center. Exhale your hands down to your mat. Step back, three-legged dog. Bend your lifted knee, open through your hip, scorpion dog. Lower your foot down to your mat, bend your knees as much as you need to. Look at the top of your mat, hop or step to the top of your mat, forward fold. Drape your upper body over your lower body, bending your knees as much as you need to. Releasing your head and neck, nodding your head yes, shaking your head no. Nodding your head once again. Then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, rising slowly all the way to standing. Meeting your hands above your head. Micro back bend. Back to center. Crescent to your right. Crescent to your left. And back to center. Release your hands to heart center, or to your hips, or to Tadasana, mountain pose, palms facing forward. Notice what your hips are doing. Notice that your feet are aligned, moving in the same direction like railroad tracks. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Take this moment to return to your intention. Return to your breath. And gently release your hands, softly blink, open your eyes. Let's move straight from Tadasana to chair pose, rooting down. You can practice in traditional style with your toes together or with your feet hip distance apart, yogi's choice. Root down, strong legs, strong core, long spine. Inhale your hands high, exhale, sink back into chair. Lift and spread your toes. Notice that your legs are parallel, that your knees aren't going wide or buckling in. Release your hands behind your hips, then rise slowly, rooting down to then rise up slowly. Open through your heart and sink back. Flow 2 to 3 times with your breath. And exhale with your hands to your heart center. Pause here. Twist over to your right, or twist to your left, bringing your right elbow to your outer left knee. Open through your arms. Close your arms. Come back to center. Let's flow again. Release your hands behind your hips and rise up slowly. Open through your heart. Exhale, sink deep into chair. Twist to your right this time, bringing your outer left elbow to your outer right knee. Open through your arms. Close. Meet back in center. Sit a little deeper. Trust your strength. Sit a little deeper. And exhale, forward fold. You did it. Nice work. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. Nod your head yes again. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, rising all the way up to standing. And exhale your hands to your heart. Transition into tree pose. First side, bring your right foot to your ankle, to your calf, or all the way up past your knee to your upper leg, rooting your right foot into your leg back into your right foot, hugging into midline. Release your hands into branches, opening through your heart, or clasp your hands behind your sacrum for a heart opener. Gently release your hands. Softly release your foot, second side, root down, and then rise up. Second side tree pose. Rooting your left foot into your right leg back into your left foot, hugging into your muscle energy, activating through your legs, through your core, softening through your eyes and through your jaw. Don't forget to breathe. And then gently release your hands. Bring your hands to heart center. Gently release your foot. Return to Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's move into wide angle pose. So bring your feet into a wide stance. Point your toes toward the corners of the long edge of your mat. Bend your knees and make sure the structure of your whole knees moving in the same direction as your feet, as your toes. Root down. Inhale your hands high. Star pose. Exhale, bend your elbows, bend your knees. Goddess pose. Lift and spread your toes to activate through your legs. Get strong through your pelvic floor, through your core, long spine. And inhale, rise up. Extend through your arms, extend through your legs. And into goddess again. Rise up onto your tippy toes. 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Inhale, rise up, extending through your arms, through your legs. One more time, sit into goddess pose. Soften your eyes, soften your jaw. And then rise all the way up. Point your toes toward the long edge of your mat. Exhale, forward fold. Clasp your elbows, release your head and neck. Nodding yes, shaking no. Nodding yes again. Bring your right spider fingers out in front of you. Left hand to right ankle for a side stretch. And switch. Left hand out in front of you, right hand to left ankle. And then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up vertebrae by vertebrae all the way to standing. Shoulders on your spine. Heel toe your feet to hip distance apart or a little wider and prep for Malasana. So grab your rolled up blanket or towel or the back of your mat. Place your heels on your prop. Root down, strong legs, strong core, hug into your muscle energy. Inhale high, exhale, sit into skier's pose, elbows to knees. Bus stop A. This is a great place to be if this feels right for you. If you want to continue on to Malasana squat, lower your hips towards your heels, elbows hugging into the inner knees and your inner knees hugging back into your outer elbows, shoulder blades on your spine. Adjust your prop whenever. If you need it lowered, if you need it heightened, to give you support so you don't feel like you're tipping or rocking. Breathe deeply. You can pause and return to your intention or move through heart opener or hip mobility. Yogi's choice. returning to Malasana. Take one more breath where you are. And then gently lower all the way down to your sits bones. Set your prop to the side. We're going to do a little bit of core, moving through dolphin pose. So follow along with me. At any point you can pause and do more or less of dolphin if you really want to get a little bit more of a core strengthener. But we'll do this a couple of times to continue warming up. So clasp your hands. I like to tuck my pinkies into my fist. My foundation is now going to be my forearms. All right, so in other poses, foundation are feet, sits bones. This one, it's forearms. This is also a pose you can do at the wall. So if you prefer to do this at the wall with your hands on the wall with a micro bend in your elbow, please do that. Protect your joints. Be mindful of what your body needs in this moment. So root your forearms into your mat, and you're energetically hugging in, energetically drawing your elbows toward one another, rooting down, stepping back into plank pose. My gaze is over my fist. My hips are even. I'm not piking up or sinking down. Hugging in, using the strength through my legs, through my core, shoulder blades on my spine. And then when I lift my hips high, my gaze is going to go between my elbows. My head is between my elbows, but it's not touching my mat. Then moving into dolphin, stepping my feet toward my elbows. And then walking back into plank. So you can move back and forth, flowing with your breath. If you want to add a variation, you can lift your right leg. And then switch to your left leg. And then step back, hugging in. Walking back and forth between plank and dolphin. One more time. Hug in. Step forward. And step back. Then lower your knees and move into child's pose. Sink your hips back toward your heels, knees wide. Arms can be out in front of you, beside your legs, or behind your neck. Yogi's choice. Take 2 to 3 breaths in child's pose. On your next breath, gently rise up, back into tabletop, step back into plank pose, and meet in downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Inhale your right leg high, draw your knee to your nose. Root your right foot between your hands, heel toe your right foot to the outer edge of your mat into lizard lunge. And then rock back and forth. Open your hips, coming to the outer edge of your right foot. Take one more breath in lizard lunge, and then heel toe your foot back to the center of your mat. Step back into 3-legged dog. Then inhale, knee to nose, lower your shin to your mat, walk your back foot back a bit, root down, get strong through your legs, grab a block out in front of you, root down to rise up into pigeon. Hands can stay on your block, or you can switch off one hand on one hip while the other is on the block, or both hands on your hips. This takes a lot of muscle energy, so you're strong through your legs, pelvic floor, core. You're rooting down to rise up, shining bright through the crown of your head. Soften through your eyes, soften through your jaw. Take one more breath here. And then lower down to your mat, down to your forearms. Bring your forehead to rest on your hands. Stay even with your hips. On your next breath, rise back up. Come all the way down to your sits bones, moving into fire log. So your right shin is parallel with the long edge of your mat. Bring your left foot across your right leg. And then sit back onto both sits bones, bringing your left heel onto your right knee. Left knee over your right foot. Keep your toes engaged. Grab a block or rolled up blanket to place between your left knee and your right foot. Fill that gap. Lengthen. Root down with your sits bones. I like to put my right hand against my left foot, my left hand against my left knee. Hugging in, shining bright. Take 2 to 3 breaths here. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze. Return to your intention. And then on your next breath, gently release your hands, open your eyes, set your block to the side. Exit in the same way that you entered this pose. So move over onto your right sits bones, set your left foot down, then step back, transition to tabletop pose, and we'll move into second side. Step back into plank, downward facing dog. This time, inhale your left leg high, knee to nose. Set your left foot between your hands. Heel toe your left foot to the outer edge of your mat. Lizard lunge. Moving, creating more movement in your body, opening your hips. At any point, you can move your right knee down to your mat. Play with this movement, noticing what feels best in your body. Then heel toe your foot back to the center of your mat, root down, 3-legged dog. And then move toward pigeon, knee to nose, lower your shin to your mat, left knee to the outer edge of your mat. Walk your right foot back a bit, root down, get strong, strong, strong. Engage through your legs, through your core, and rise up into pigeon. Hugging in, rooting down to rise up. Breathing deeply, softening through your eyes, through your jaw, through your shoulders, hugging in through your core, through your legs. Then gently release down to your mat, forearms down to your mat, head to your hands, even through your hips. One more breath where you are, and then transition to your sits bones. Fire log, second side, left shin is parallel with the long edge of your mat. Right foot crosses over left leg, and then rock back onto both sits bones. Right foot on left knee, right knee over left foot. Fill the gap with a block or blanket, root down. Lengthen through your spine, shine bright through the crown of your head. Close your eyes or return to your intention, and breathe. Softly open your eyes, gently release your hands, set your prop to the side, exit this pose in the same way that you entered, and transition to tabletop pose. Root down, step back into plank, and then downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg high, draw your knee to your nose, root down, rise up into crescent lunge, transition into warrior one, stepping your back foot forward. Back foot is rooted at a 45-degree angle, front knee over front ankle. We're gonna flow into our peak pose, eagle pose. So root down, eagle pose uses a lot of muscle energy, a lot of hugging in. So root down, transition from a warrior one to warrior three, drawing your chest forward, lifting your back leg high, even out your hips, even out your shoulders, micro bend in your rooted leg, shining bright through the crown of your head. Then lift and rise into high knee. Here's where we transition into eagle pose. Cross your left knee over your right knee. Bend both knees. If you can hook your left foot around your calf, your left ankle around your calf, you can do that. And then inhale your hands high. Right elbow over left elbow. And then cross your arms. Kind of hug your arms together, spiraling together. Lift your elbows to shoulder height and hug in. Really activate your muscle energy through your legs, through your core, through your shoulders, through your arms, all the way to your fingertips. And breathe. Eagle pose. If you want to spice it up, forward fold. And then rise back up. This time, untwist your legs, but keep your arms twisted. Step back into warrior three with eagle arms. Hug in. It's okay if you step out of the pose. Step back into warrior one feet. Release your arms. Inhale your hands high. Exhale, clasp your hands behind your sacrum. Lengthen through your front leg, pyramid pose. Soften your heart towards your mat. Release your hands off your sacrum. And inhale, rise up. Release your hands. Inhale your hands high, crescent lunge. And lower your hands to your mat. Root down, step back, three-legged dog. Scorpion dog, bend your lifted knee, open through your hip. And lower your foot back down to your mat. Pause in downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths here. Second side, inhale your left leg high, knee to nose, lower your foot between your hands, root down to rise up, crescent lunge. Exhale your hands to your heart, step your back foot forward into warrior one. Notice your alignment. Scissoring your legs together, root down, rise up into warrior three. Even out your hips, even out your shoulders. Rise up to high knee, eagle, second side. Bring your right knee over your left knee, hook your foot around your calf if that's part of your practice. Inhale your hands high, left elbow over right elbow. Twist your arms together, spiraling them together. Draw your elbows skyward. If you step out of this pose, that's okay. Root down, step back in. Breathing deeply, hugging into midline, activating your muscle energy. Hug, hug, hug. Forward fold, if you'd like to play with forward fold. And rise back up. Release your legs, keep your arms twisted, moving into warrior three with eagle arms. And step back into warrior one. Release your arms, clasp your hands behind your sacrum, lengthen through your front leg, pyramid pose, soften your heart toward your mat. And inhale, rise back up. Release your hands, transition to crescent lunge. Exhale your hands down to your mat. Step back, three-legged dog, scorpion dog. Bend your lifted knee, open through your hips. And then release your foot back down to your mat. Inhale your chest forward into plank. Lower your knees to your mat. And come all the way down to your sits bones. Nice work, everyone. That was eagle pose. Let's start cooling down. Grab your sweater, your socks, whatever would make you feel cozy. Grab your block. Have a blanket ready. Come all the way down to your back body. Moving into bridge pose. Feet are hip distance apart. Root your upper arms into your mat. Robot arms, robot hands. Root down, get strong through your core, through your pelvic floor, through your glutes, and lift your hips high. Shoulder blades on your spine, and breathe. And gently release your hips back down to your mat. Grab your block. Let's do that again, but this time move into supported bridge. Root down to rise up. Place your block under your sacrum. If that feels steady, lift your right leg high. Then your left leg. You can leave your arms in robot arms or clasp the sides of your mat. And breathe. Keep your toes engaged. One more breath where you are. And gently release your feet down to your mat. Release your block, setting it to the side. Heel toe, your feet mat distance apart. Open your arms into T-pose. Windshield wiper your knees over to your right. Then over to your left. And move into any other pose that would feel best for you. Maybe four-corner stretch, happy baby, or move into Shavasana or supported fish pose. Listen to your body. Notice what would feel best for you in this moment. Yogi's choice, you can end your sequence in Shavasana or supported fish. If you're in Shavasana, place your blanket over your hips for more groundedness or under the backs of your legs to support your lower back. Soften into your mat, letting your foundation fully support you. Soften your eyes, soften your jaw. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like, or follow along with me to end the sequence. Let your breath awaken your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, stretching your arms overhead. Curling over onto your right side. Use the strength of your arms to lift up into seated. Meeting with your hands at heart center. Each of you are worthy of love and belonging just as you are. I encourage you to go into your day offering yourself your intention and that same intention to those around you. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.